Sometimes answers don't come from running away, even from things that don't feel right. I know that there are spaces you outgrow, or spaces that are bad in a way where getting out feels like saving yourself. This is not what I'm referring to. I'm referring to the urge to leave as soon as things get uncomfortable. I look back on my teenage years and how most of my time was spent venturing into a realm of fantasy and thinking. There were feelings and emotions involved, but it felt like in some sense they weren't mine, at least not when I was dreaming. When I imagined myself as a great dancer or writer, a girl satisfied with herself, so content there would have been no need to escape. Or maybe there would have, but I never lived in a life different from mine. I could measure how good I was feeling by how much time I would spend in my dreams. Now time has passed. I still daydream, but it doesn't consume me anymore. I turned my life into something I want to be a part of. I remember myself sitting in front of my therapist in the clinic, and she asked me what helped the most in this transition. And I told her my ex, because he was so calm and showed me that it was possible to live in the present, not overthink, not escape, not just him, but my time spent with horses and other animals as well. But now, half a year later, I want to give myself more credit for moving ahead, for overcoming difficult times and finding ways to experience joy in my day-to-day life. It's so easy to overlook my own efforts and appreciate the things around me more than what's inside. Let's go back to the first sentence. Sometimes answers don't come from running away, even from things that don't feel right. In this phrase, the hypothesis is that there is something outside of me that needs to be run away from, or can be run away from. I'm realizing more and more that some of the worst times of my life have been due to internal battles. Me being at war with myself. Though this is no news, what has changed for me is realizing that it puts the attention on the relationship with myself. I can keep my room clean, meal prep, plan everything as much as I want to, but if this comes from a place of self-hatred or unsatisfaction and punishment, the purpose gets lost. There's no real change apart from the change within. At least no change that lasts. I do think that our internal changes can be supported by the people around us. Human connection can often be a catalyst for change or getting more rooted in yourself, but the source for this change is always coming from within. What I've taken away from this realization is that I can give myself more credit. I can expand my gratitude for everything around me, inside of myself. I still want to speak on the feeling of wanting to escape. Not just through my dreams, but also through wanting to be somewhere else than where I am right now. Being unhappy with my location, even though there are many beautiful things around me. I wonder if it is an internal thing, or if a different place would actually help me feel better. And I know I probably answered my own question in the previous paragraph. But the city I live in now has been the first time I moved away from home. I did stay in Canada several times for a few months, but being there feels like being in a little universe of its own. So I don't consider it in my thoughts here. Part of me is scared that I will always feel like this. Feel like I need to move somewhere new to meet new parts of myself and heal. Become more myself. It's like looking for an unknown catalyst for change, not knowing what it is that I would like to change. So I'm wondering if I just need to keep on working on my inner world and I will eventually feel satisfied with my outer world, or if a change of my outer world would actually make me feel better. I study philosophy, and in one of my classes we talked about identity and something that builds the identity as space and time. There can only be one specific version of me right here, right now. In a different space and time, there is no proof that it is the same me from before or after, because everything is always changing. This is just one of many perspectives based on humans' idea of identity. There are many others, but most of them talk about space and time. What came to my mind about these two elements is that they also determine how I view myself. The way I look at myself changes, depending if I look back on myself at a certain period of time or whether I look at myself right now. Both my view on how I looked and how I acted seem to shift. I always seem to look back in gratitude and compassion, seeing what I overcame or how I handled things that shaped me more to being someone I want to be. I'm harsher and more critical when looking at myself in the present moment, and it takes a bigger effort to bring compassion and gratitude to the forefront. Then with the space, I went to school in Canada when I was 16, and being somewhere new helped me get to know myself so much better. Knowing I'm so much more than my circumstances and there is a strong sense of self I'm taking with me no matter where I am, helped me to be more confident coming into new environments as well as making me more secure in who I am. Even though I would agree that it is a constant pursuit of getting to know yourself and the world, I feel like there's a lot of responsibility on my own shoulders. This can be a positive thing in the way that if something positive happens in my life, I also get the credit for it. For many beautiful things in my life, I also can expand the gratefulness onto myself for creating them or making them possible, and also turn it more to the inside. If I put more weight on the things I can be grateful for internally, then shifts on the outside are not as impactful, even though they are, but I have a stronger base, or at least this would be what I imagine having more gratitude for the self does to you.